It was one of those mornings when everything seemed to go wrong. Maya had overslept. Her coffee maker had broken. And the rain was coming down so hard that her umbrella was basically useless. She was already 20 minutes late for work when she decided to stop at the little coffee shop on 5th Street. At least she could get some decent coffee before facing her boss. The place was packed. People were shaking off their wet umbrellas and crowding around the counter, everyone trying to get their morning fix before heading to their jobs. Maya squeezed through the crowd, water dripping from her coat, and finally made it to the counter. "One large coffee, black, please," she said to the barista, fumbling for her wallet in her soaked purse. That's when it happened. Someone bumped into her from behind, and suddenly hot coffee was everywhere, all over her white blouse, all over the floor, and all over the person who had bumped into her. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Maya turned around to see a woman about her age, looking absolutely horrified. The stranger had long dark hair and the most unusual green eyes Maya had ever seen. She was wearing a simple cream-colored sweater that was now stained with coffee. No, it's totally my fault," Maya said, grabbing napkins from the counter. "I should have been more careful. Are you kidding? I wasn't watching where I was going." The woman started dabbing at Maya's blouse with her own napkins. I was completely lost in thought. This is entirely on me. They both started laughing at the same time. There was something about the situation that was more funny than frustrating. Here they were, two strangers covered in coffee, apologizing to each other like it was the end of the world. "I'm Leela," the woman said, extending her hand. "Maya," she replied, shaking it. "Nice to meet you, even under these circumstances." The barista, who had been watching the whole thing, came over with a towel. "Don't worry about it. Happens all the time. Let me get you both fresh coffees on the house," while they waited for new drinks. Maya found herself studying Leela. There was something different about her, something that made her stand out from everyone else in the crowded coffee shop. Maybe it was the way she moved, kind of graceful and deliberate. Or maybe it was how she seemed completely unbothered by the coffee stain on her sweater. "You're not from around here, are you?" Maya asked. Leela smiled. "What gave it away?" "I don't know. You just seem different, in a good way. I'm visiting friends for a week. I live about 3 hours away, in a small town you've probably never heard of." Leela paused. "Actually, I was supposed to leave yesterday, but something made me want to stay a little longer." They got their fresh coffees and found a small table by the window. The rain was still coming down, but inside the coffee shop, it felt warm and cozy. Maya completely forgot about being late for work. "So what do you do?" Leela asked, wrapping her hands around her mug. "I work at a marketing firm downtown. Nothing too exciting." "What about you?" "I teach art classes at a community center. Mostly kids, but some adults too." Lila's eyes lit up when she talked about it. "I love watching people discover they can create something beautiful with their own hands." There was something in the way she said it that made Maya feel like she was talking about more than just art, like she was talking about life itself. They talked for over an hour. Maya learned that Leela loved old books and had read everything from classic literature to ancient philosophy. She believed in signs and coincidences, and the idea that everything happened for a reason. She told Maya about her small apartment above a bookstore, about her garden where she grew herbs and vegetables, about how she preferred walking to driving, and handwritten letters to text messages. "You sound like you're from another time," Maya said, not meaning it as a criticism. "I get that a lot," Leela laughed. "I guess I've always felt a bit out of place in the modern world, like I'm supposed to be somewhere else, or maybe someone else." Maya found herself sharing things she normally wouldn't tell a stranger, about how she felt stuck in her job, about her dreams of traveling the world, about how she sometimes lay awake at night wondering if this was all there was to life. Leela listened without judgment, nodding at all the right moments. "I think a lot of people feel that way," Leela said softly, "like they're sleepwalking through their days, waiting for something to wake them up." The conversation flowed so naturally that Maya was shocked when she looked at her phone and realized it was past lunchtime. She had completely forgotten about work, about everything except this fascinating stranger who had literally bumped into her life. I should probably get going, Maya said reluctantly. My boss is probably wondering where I am. Of course, Leela said, but Maya could hear disappointment in her voice too. They walked outside together. The rain had stopped, and the sun was trying to break through the clouds. Maya felt like she was waking up from a dream, returning to reality after spending the morning in some magical alternate world. This might sound crazy, Maya said, but would you like to have dinner tonight? I know this great little Italian place, Lila's. Face brightened. I'd love that. They exchanged phone numbers, and Maya felt a strange sense of relief, like she had just avoided losing something important. That evening, they met at the restaurant Maya had suggested. It was a small, family-owned place with checkered tablecloths and candles on every table. They talked for hours, picking at their food and sharing stories about their lives. As they walked back to Maya's apartment building afterward, Leela suddenly stopped and took Maya's hands in hers. Her touch was warm and somehow familiar. Thank you for today, Leela said, her green eyes serious. I needed to meet someone like you, someone like me, someone real, someone who sees the world the way I do. Leela paused, like she was trying to find the right words. I have to leave tomorrow morning. My friends are driving me back home. Maya felt a pang of sadness. She had only known Leela for one day, but it felt like they had been friends for years. Will we keep in touch? Maya asked. I hope so, Leela said. Then she did something that would stay with Maya for weeks. She looked directly into Maya's eyes and said, think of me tonight. There was something about the way she said it, something that made the simple request feel important, almost sacred. Maya nodded. Not trusting herself to speak, Leela squeezed her hands once more, then turned and walked away into the night. Maya stood there for a long time, watching her figure disappear into the darkness, feeling like something significant had just happened to her life. Maya couldn't sleep that night. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of her day with Leela. The way she laughed, the way she held her coffee cup with both hands, the way she listened like every word Maya said actually mattered, and those final words kept echoing in her mind. Think of me tonight. She did think of Leela. She thought about her until the sun came up. The next morning, Maya woke up feeling strange. Not bad strange, just different, like something inside her had shifted. She made coffee and sat by her window, watching people hurry past on the street below. Everyone looked so rushed, so focused on getting somewhere else. She wondered if Leela was already on the road, heading back to her small town. Maya picked up her phone and typed a message. Hope you have a safe trip home. Thank you for yesterday. She stared at the text for a long time before sending it. Leela replied an hour later. Thank you too. Yesterday was special. That was it. Just one simple sentence, but it made Maya smile for the rest of the day. Over the next few days, Maya found herself thinking about Leela constantly, not in an obsessive way, but like a song that gets stuck in your head. She would be doing something completely normal, like brushing her teeth or waiting for the elevator, and suddenly she would remember something Leela had said, or the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled. The strange part was how the world seemed to be, reminding her of Leela everywhere she went. On Tuesday, she was walking past a bookstore when she saw a book in the window that Leela had mentioned loving. On Wednesday, she overheard two women at lunch talking about art classes at a community center. On Thursday, she found herself humming a song that Leela had quietly sung while they walked to dinner. Maya tried to text Leela a few times, but their conversations felt different now, shorter, more polite. It was like they were both trying to be normal friends, but something was missing. The magic from that first day seemed impossible to recreate through a phone screen. How's your week going? Maya would text, good, busy with classes. How's work? Leela would reply. It was perfectly fine conversation, but it felt like they were talking through a thick wall. Maya started to wonder if she had imagined their connection, if maybe she had built it up in her mind to be more than it really was. But then the coincidences started getting weird. On Friday, Maya was getting lunch at a place she had never been to before. The waitress brought her order, and it was exactly what Leela had ordered at the Italian restaurant. Maya hadn't asked for it. The waitress had just assumed that's what she wanted. "I'm sorry, I think you brought me the wrong order," Maya said. The waitress looked confused. "Didn't you order the pasta with herbs and olive oil?" Maya looked down at the plate. It was exactly what Leela had eaten. "Actually, this is fine," she said, and somehow it tasted better than anything she had eaten all week. Saturday morning, Maya was doing laundry in the basement of her apartment building. She was folding clothes when she noticed another tenant had left something behind. It was a cream-colored sweater that looked exactly like the one Leela had been wearing when they met. Maya almost called out to ask if anyone had forgotten something, but when she looked closer, she realized it wasn't the same sweater at all, just similar. But the feeling it gave her was so strong that she had to sit down for a moment. Sunday was the worst. Maya was walking through the park when she saw someone with long dark hair sitting on a bench ahead of her. Her heart jumped, and she started walking faster. She was almost running by the time she reached the bench, but when the person turned around, it was a complete stranger, a man with a beard who looked nothing like Leela. Maya felt foolish. She was starting to lose her mind over someone she had known for exactly one day. That night, she decided to call Leela. She needed to hear her voice, to remind herself that Leela was a real person and not some figment of her imagination. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Then it went to voicemail. "Hi, this is Leela. I can't answer right now, but leave a message and I'll call you back." Maya listened to the brief message 3 times before hanging up. She didn't leave a voicemail. What would she say? That she was thinking about her constantly, that she was seeing signs of her everywhere, that she felt like something important was missing from her life. She tried calling again later that night. Same thing. Voicemail. Maya finally left a message. "Hi, it's Maya. I just wanted to say hi and see how you're doing. I hope everything's okay. I've been thinking about you. Call me back when you get a chance." But Leela didn't call back. Monday came and went. Tuesday too. Maya started to worry that something had happened. Maybe Leela had been in an accident on the drive home. Maybe she had lost her phone. Maybe she was sick. Or maybe she just didn't want to talk to Maya anymore. Wednesday morning, Maya was getting ready for work when her phone buzzed. A text message from Leela. "Thank you for thinking of me. I won't forget." Maya stared at the message. It was sweet, but also strange. She typed back, "Of course. Are you okay? I tried calling." She waited for a response, but nothing came. She tried calling again that evening. This time, she got a recording. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." Maya called 3 more times, thinking maybe she had dialed wrong. Same recording every time. She checked their text conversation, thinking maybe she had somehow gotten the wrong number. But there it was, their entire conversation history, ending with that final message. "Thank you for thinking of me. I won't forget." Maya sat on her couch, staring at her phone. How does someone's phone number just stop working? Had Leela changed? Had she blocked Maya's number? Or was there some other explanation? She thought about trying to find Leela online, but she realized she didn't even know Leela's last name. She knew she lived in a small town about 3 hours away, but there were dozens of small towns in that direction. She knew she taught art classes, but that wasn't enough information to track someone down. Maya felt like she was losing her grip on reality. She had met this amazing person, felt this incredible connection, and now Leela had vanished like she had never existed at all. That night, Maya lay in bed thinking about Leela's last words to her in person. "Think of me tonight." She had been thinking of her every night since then. Maybe that was the point. Maybe some people come into your life not to stay, but to change something inside you. Maybe Leela had been exactly what Maya needed, exactly when she needed it, but Maya still wished she could call her and hear her voice one more time. 2 weeks passed after Lila's phone number stopped working, and Maya's life started falling apart in ways she couldn't have imagined. It began with small things that snowballed into bigger problems. Her boss had been putting more pressure on her at work, demanding she stay late almost every night. The marketing campaign she had been working on for months was suddenly rejected by the client, and now she had to start over from scratch. Then her long-term boyfriend Alex decided he wanted to take a break from their relationship. They had been together for 3 years, and Maya thought they were happy. But apparently, Alex had been feeling distant for months and needed space to figure things out. He moved out of their shared apartment on a Sunday morning, taking half their furniture and leaving Maya surrounded by empty spaces, where their life together used to be. The worst part was that Maya couldn't even feel properly sad about it. She kept thinking she should be more upset, should be crying or angry or something. But mostly she just felt numb, like she was watching someone else's life fall apart from the outside. Sleep became impossible. Maya would lie in bed for hours, staring at the ceiling, listening to every sound in the apartment, the refrigerator humming, the upstairs neighbor walking around, cars passing on the street. Her mind would race from one worry to another, never settling on anything long enough to actually solve any problems. She tried everything: herbal tea, meditation apps, sleeping pills from the pharmacy. Nothing worked. She would finally drift off around 4 in the morning, only to wake up exhausted when her alarm went off at 7. Her friends tried to help, but Maya found herself pulling away from everyone. When her best friend Jessica called to check on her, Maya would give short answers and make excuses to get off the phone. When her coworkers asked if she wanted to grab lunch, she said she was too busy. She wasn't too busy. She just didn't have the energy to pretend everything was fine. The strangest part was how often she found herself thinking about Lila during these difficult weeks. Maya would be sitting at her desk, struggling to focus on work, and suddenly she would remember something Lila had said about finding beauty in small moments. Or she would be walking home from the grocery store, feeling overwhelmed by how empty her apartment felt, and she would think about Lila's description of her little place above the bookstore. Maya started having imaginary conversations with Lila. In her head, she would think about what Lila might say about her situation, how she might offer comfort or advice. Maya could almost hear Lila's voice, gentle and understanding, telling her that difficult times were just seasons that would eventually pass. It was weird, but these imaginary conversations were more comforting than any real conversation Maya had with actual people in her life. 3 weeks after the breakup, Maya had her worst night yet. She had been lying awake for hours, and it was already past 2 in the morning. Her mind was spinning with anxiety about everything that was going wrong: work deadlines, rent payments, the fact that she was 30 years old and felt like she was moving backward instead of forward. She got up and walked to the kitchen, thinking maybe warm milk would help. But as she stood there waiting for the milk to heat up, she started crying. Not the gentle, cleansing kind of crying that makes you feel better afterward. The desperate, exhausted kind that comes from somewhere deep inside and feels like it might never stop. Maya slid down the kitchen wall and sat on the floor, sobbing. She felt so alone, so lost, so tired of trying to hold everything together. She missed Alex, even though she was starting to realize she had been unhappy in their relationship. For a long time, she missed having someone to talk to at the end of the day, someone who cared about her problems and celebrated her small victories. But more than that, she missed Lila, which was crazy because she had only known Lila for one day. But that one day had felt more real and connected than most of her 3-year relationship with Alex. Lila had seen something in Maya that Maya had forgotten existed. She had made Maya feel interesting and valuable and worth listening to. Maya wiped her eyes and looked around her quiet apartment. The milk was probably boiling over by now, but she didn't care. She closed her eyes and tried to remember exactly what Lila had looked like. Her green eyes, her long dark hair, the way she moved her hands when she talked about art. "Think of me tonight," Lila had said. Maya had been thinking of her every night, but tonight felt different. Tonight, Maya wasn't just remembering Leela. She was reaching out to her, somehow, across whatever distance separated them. Maya didn't believe in telepathy or mind reading or any of that stuff. She was a practical person who believed in facts and logic. But sitting on her kitchen floor at 3 in the morning, she found herself focusing all her energy on thoughts of Leela. She imagined her voice, her laugh, her gentle way of looking at the world. She imagined what it would feel like to have Leela there with her, to not be alone with all this sadness and confusion. Maya had never done anything like this before, but somehow it felt natural, like she was sending a signal out into the universe, hoping someone would hear it and respond. She thought about their conversation at the coffee shop, about how Leela had said she believed in signs and coincidences. Maybe this was Maya's way of creating a sign, of reaching across the impossible distance between them. She must have sat there for an hour, just thinking about Leela with complete focus, not thinking about work or Alex or any of her problems, just Leela, her face, her voice, her presence. The way she had made Maya feel seen and understood and less alone in the world. Eventually, Maya got up and turned off the stove. The milk had indeed boiled over, leaving a mess she would have to clean up tomorrow. She went back to her bedroom and got into bed, but she didn't feel as restless as she had earlier. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt like she might actually fall asleep. She closed her eyes and continued thinking about Leela, holding her memory like a warm blanket. She thought about Lila's small apartment above the bookstore, about her garden full of herbs, about the way she had taken Maya's hands and asked her to think of her tonight. As Maya drifted off to sleep, she had the strangest feeling that she wasn't alone anymore. It was probably just her imagination, or maybe she was finally so tired that her mind was playing tricks on her. But she could swear she felt a presence in the room with her, something gentle and familiar and comforting. Maya fell asleep with a small smile on her face, still thinking of Leela. Maya woke up slowly, the way you do when you've finally had good sleep after weeks of restless nights. She felt more rested than she had in a long time. The morning light was filtering through her curtains, soft and warm, and for the first time in weeks, she wasn't immediately hit with that heavy feeling of dread about facing another day. She stretched and rolled over, still half asleep, expecting to see the empty space where Alex used to sleep. But instead, she found herself looking at someone else entirely. Leela was there, sleeping peacefully on the other side of the bed. Maya's first thought was that she was still dreaming. She had been thinking about Leela so intensely the night before that her mind must be playing tricks on her. She closed her eyes tight and opened them again, expecting the vision to disappear. But Leela was still there. Maya sat up slowly, her heart pounding. She studied Leela's face in the morning light. Every detail was exactly as she remembered. The long dark hair spread across the pillow, the peaceful expression, even the small silver bracelet on her wrist that Maya had noticed during their dinner together. This couldn't be real. People don't just appear in other people's beds, especially not people who live 3 hours away and whose phone numbers have been disconnected. Maya must be having some kind of breakdown. The stress of the past few weeks had finally caught up with her, and now she was hallucinating. But when Maya reached out tentatively to touch Lila's shoulder, she felt warm skin and the soft fabric of a familiar cream-colored sweater. The same sweater Leela had been wearing the day they met. The one that had gotten stained with coffee. Maya jerked her hand back, her mind racing. This was impossible, completely impossible. Her apartment was on the 4th floor. The door was locked. She had 3 different locks on that door, and she remembered checking them all before going to bed. Maybe someone had broken in. Maybe this wasn't Leela at all, but some stranger who just happened to look like her. But as Maya looked closer, she could see details that only Leela would have. The tiny scar on her collarbone that she had gotten falling off her bike as a child. The way her left eyebrow had a small gap in it. Even the subtle scent of her perfume. Something that smelled like vanilla and old books. Maya didn't know what to do. Should she wake this person up? Should she call the police? Should she run out of the apartment and get help? But something stopped her from doing any of those things, despite how impossible this situation was. She didn't feel scared. She felt peaceful, like this was somehow exactly what was supposed to happen. Maya sat there for what felt like hours, just watching Leela sleep. She noticed things she hadn't paid attention to before. The way Lila's breathing was so steady and calm. The way her hands were folded under her cheek, like a child's. The way she seemed to radiate a kind of serenity that Maya had never seen in anyone else. As the sun got higher, Lila began to stir. She opened her eyes slowly, and when she saw Maya sitting there, she smiled. Not a surprised smile, not a confused smile, but a gentle, knowing smile, like waking up together was the most natural thing in the world. "Good morning," Lila said softly, her voice exactly as Maya remembered it. "Lila," Maya whispered, not trusting her voice to work properly. "How are you here?" Lila sat up slowly, running her fingers through her hair. "You called for me," she said. "Simply, I heard you thinking of me, so I came." Maya stared at her. "That's not possible. People can't just appear because someone thinks about them, can't they?" Lila asked, tilting her head slightly. "How do you know what's possible and what isn't?" "Because that's not how the world works," Maya said, though even as she said it, she wasn't sure she believed it anymore. Lila reached over and took Maya's hand. Her touch was warm and real and completely familiar. "Last night, you were so sad. I could feel it, even from far away. You were thinking about me so intensely, calling out to me. I couldn't ignore that." Maya looked down at their joined hands. "I was thinking about you. I was thinking about you for hours. But that doesn't explain how you're here, in my bed, in my locked apartment." "Some connections are stronger than distance," Lila said. "Some people are meant to find each other, no matter what keeps them apart." Maya wanted to argue, to demand a logical explanation. But something in Lila's eyes stopped her. Those green eyes held the same wisdom and mystery they had from the very beginning. But now there was something else, too. A kind of sadness, like she knew this moment couldn't last forever. "Are you real?" Maya asked. "I'm as real as you need me to be," Lila said. "I'm here. You can touch me, talk to me, spend time with me. Isn't that what matters?" Maya realized she was crying, though she hadn't felt the tears starting. "I've been so lost without you. I know that sounds crazy because we only spent one day together. But meeting you changed something in me. And then you disappeared, and I felt like I had lost something important. Before I even knew what it was," Lila squeezed her hand. "You didn't lose anything. I've been with you this whole time, even when you couldn't see me. Every time you thought of me, every time you remembered our conversations, I was there. But your phone, some things can't be reached through phones," Lila said, with a small smile. "But you found a way to reach me anyway." Maya looked around her bedroom, trying to process what was happening. Everything looked normal. The same furniture, the same morning light, the same sounds of the city waking up outside. But nothing felt normal anymore. It felt like she had stepped into a different world, one where impossible things could happen if you wanted them badly enough. "How long can you stay?" Maya asked, though she was afraid of the answer. "As long as you need me," Lila said. "As long as you believe I can be here." Maya felt a wave of relief so strong it made her dizzy. For the first time in weeks, she wasn't alone. For the first time in weeks, she felt like everything might be okay. "I need coffee," Maya said, laughing a little at how normal that sounded in this completely abnormal situation. "I'd like that," Lila said, getting up from the bed. "I'd like to have coffee with you again." As they walked to the kitchen together, Maya kept glancing at Lila, still not quite believing this was real. But real or not, Lila was here, and Maya was going to make the most of whatever time they had together. The next 3 days were the most peaceful Maya had experienced in months. She called in sick to work, something she had never done unless she was actually dying. But this felt more important than any job. She had been given something precious and impossible, and she wasn't going to waste it sitting in meetings about marketing strategies. Leela moved through Maya's apartment like she had always lived there. She made coffee in the morning using a method Maya had never seen before, heating the water to just the right temperature and letting it steep with a patience that seemed to come from another era. The coffee tasted better than anything Maya had ever made with her fancy machine. They spent the first day just talking. Maya told Leela about everything that had happened since she disappeared. The problems at work, the breakup with Alex, the sleepless nights, the feeling that her life was falling apart. Leela listened without judgment, nodding at the right moments, asking questions that helped Maya understand her own feelings better. You know? Leela said as they sat by the window, watching people walk by below, sometimes life has to fall apart before it can come together in a better way. Is that what's happening to me? Maya asked. What do you think? Leela replied, which was very much like her. She never gave direct answers, but somehow her questions always led Maya to the answers she needed. Maya realized that despite all the chaos of the past few weeks, she felt clearer about herself than she had in years. The breakup with Alex had been painful, but she was starting to see that they had been wrong for each other for a long time. She had been staying in the relationship because it was comfortable, not because it made her happy. The second day, Leela convinced Maya to take a walk through the city. They visited places Maya had lived near for years but had never really explored. A small park with a hidden garden, a used bookstore where the owner let them browse for hours, a cafe where they served tea in actual china cups and the tables were mismatched antiques. You live in such a beautiful place, Leela said as they sat in the cafe. But you never see it. I'm always rushing to get somewhere else, Maya admitted. I never take time to notice what's right in front of me. That's the problem with most people. Leela said, they're so focused on where they're going that they miss where they are. Maya watched Leela add honey to her tea, stirring it slowly and deliberately. Everything Leela did seemed intentional, like she was fully present in every moment. It was something Maya had never learned how to do. How do you do that? Maya asked. Do what? Be so here, so present. I'm always thinking about what I have to do next, or worrying about something that might happen, or regretting something I did yesterday. Leela smiled. It's just practice, like anything else. You choose to be where you are instead of where you're not. That evening, they cooked dinner together. Leela showed Maya how to make pasta sauce from scratch, using herbs she had somehow produced from Maya's nearly empty kitchen. As they worked side by side, Maya felt something she had never experienced before. Complete contentment. Not happiness exactly, but something deeper. Peace. I don't want this to end, Maya said as they ate the dinner they had made together. Nothing really ends, Leela said. It just changes form. Maya didn't understand what she meant, but something in Leela's tone made her not want to ask for clarification. The third day, Maya woke up with a strange feeling. She couldn't put her finger on what it was, but something felt different. Leela was still there, still warm and real beside her, but Maya sensed that time was running out. They spent the morning in comfortable silence, reading books from Maya's shelf. Leela had chosen a collection of poetry that Maya had bought years ago but never opened. Maya found herself watching Leela more than reading her own book, trying to memorize every detail of her face. You're staring at me, Leela said without looking up from her book. I'm sorry, Maya said. I feel like you're going to disappear. Leela closed her book and looked at Maya with those wise green eyes. I have to go soon. Maya felt her heart sink. Why? Because this isn't my world, Leela said gently. I can visit, but I can't stay. That's not how this works. What if I don't want you to go? Some things aren't about what we want, Leela said. They're about what needs to happen. Maya felt tears starting to build behind her eyes. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand how you got here or why you have to leave or what any of this means. Leela moved closer and took Maya's hands in hers. You don't have to understand everything. Some experiences are meant to be felt, not explained. But what am I supposed to do when you're gone? You're supposed to live, Leela said simply. You're supposed to remember what it feels like to be present, to be connected, to be awake in your own life. They spent the rest of the day together, and Maya tried to focus on what Leela had taught her about being present. She noticed the way the afternoon light changed the color of Lila's hair. She paid attention to the sound of Lila's laugh. She tried to be completely there in that moment, instead of worrying about what came next. That evening, as they sat on Maya's couch watching the sun set through the window, Leela spoke quietly. "I need to tell you something," she said. "This connection we have, it's real. It's not going to disappear just because I'm not physically here. Whenever you need to remember who you really are, whenever you need to feel less alone, just think of me, really think of me, the way you did that night. I'll be there." Maya nodded, though she wasn't sure she believed it would be enough. "And Maya," Leela continued, "you're going to be okay. Better than okay. You're going to build a life that makes you happy, with people who see you the way I see you." "How do you know?" "Because I've seen who you really are," Leela said. "And that person is incredible." Maya woke up the next morning alone. She had expected it, but it still felt like losing something precious all over again. She lay in bed for a while, looking at the empty space where Leela had been, trying to convince herself that the last 3 days had really happened. Then she noticed something on the pillow next to her, a single white feather, small and perfect. That definitely hadn't been there before. Maya picked up the feather and held it up to the morning light. She had no idea where it had come from, but somehow it felt like proof. Proof that Leela had been real, that their time together had meant something, that she wasn't losing her mind. As weeks passed, Maya found herself thinking of Leela often, but not in the desperate way she had before. Now the memories brought comfort instead of sadness. She started making changes in her life, small ones at first. She took walks during her lunch breaks instead of eating at her desk. She said no to plans that didn't interest her and yes to things that scared her a little. 6 months later, Maya quit her job and started freelancing. A year later, she moved to a smaller apartment with better light and a view of the park. She started taking art classes, something she had always wanted to do but never found time for. Sometimes, when she was feeling lost or alone, Maya would close her eyes and think of Leela with complete focus, the way she had that night. And somehow, she would feel a presence with her, gentle and familiar, reminding her that she was never truly alone. Maya never saw Leela again, but she never stopped believing in the impossible thing that had happened to them. Some connections, she learned, are stronger than distance, stronger than time, stronger than the ordinary rules of what's possible. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, those connections can change your life forever.